It takes a little practice, and then people feel better.
No,
Because
great,
it's natural to feel good.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's, in a sense, you could say it's unnatural to feel discomfort, prolonged discomfort. There's something wrong. And what it turns out is wrong is strain. So the breath is a great help because it's simple.
Yeah, and everybody breathes, and
well, hopefully,
yeah,
yeah.
and everybody's able to, if they want to, at least be aware of their breathing. Yeah. Well, I've run out of questions, but we've got a few minutes left.
Yes,
I don't know whether you want to introduce something I haven't talked about, or just say anything that you feel is helpful to people or interesting. Yeah.
I think the main thing, if we go back to speaking about non-duality, you know, it's very easy because we spent a little time talking about simple ways of feeling better. In the ordinary sense, you could say, of being more present and less absorbed in abstractions of thought, daydreams, and physical pain and struggle. But being present has nothing whatsoever to do with liberation. It doesn't facilitate liberation. Neither does feeling good or being at ease facilitate it. It's the strangest thing. For many, many years I believed it must have some role to play. But the realization that there was never a personal self can sound very odd. It can sound like a real loss. And a loss of something that seems to be crucial, absolutely fundamental to the ordinary experience of life. You know, who will I be without me? You know, like sometimes people think to be some kind of zombie or whatever. But it's not the loss of something that was real. It's the loss of an assumption that was always mistaken. So the only change is really that instead of there being a sense of a separate self looking out, what's real, and then my experience of the external world, it's simply experience appearing, and this becomes part of the experience, and always was part of the experience. So a point I wanted to get across is that liberation is the realization of that which is profoundly familiar. It's not as odd as it sounds, quite the opposite. It's the realization of what was always obvious and simply had been mislabeled. And that which had been assumed to be the personal self doesn't disappear as, and then there's just sort of an awful bleak emptiness. It's realized that that previously assumed personal self is that in which everything is appearing. It was always absolute, timeless being, which is, as I think I described it before, radiant being, which is unconditional love. And so far from being a loss of anything valuable, it's actually the realization of the wonder and the joy and the delight of aliveness. And the personal particulars of life carry on. It's just that there's no longer a sense of reference. There's just life happening.
They take care of themselves somehow, the particulars.
They do, yes.
Yeah.
Although, you know, the mortgages still have to be paid, as if, you know, there's a someone. So life appears as if there are separate people or whatever. But within, the whole context changes. From being, I'm a me, you're a separate me, to there simply being or consciousness, awakeness, presence in which all this is appearing. Yeah. So it's the context that changes. It's not the loss of anything of any value. And it's the realization, again, it's not a personal realization, it's just the realization appearing of what this has always been.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Julian at the Non-Duality Press said to ask you, when's he getting his book? He says he's been waiting for many years.
He's been waiting for many years, it's true, and and I have great admiration for his patience and his gentle persistence.
Good.
And at some point, I'm sure
when it's
right, likely to
happen.
Yeah,
good.
I can't really explain why a book hasn't happened yet. There's been a lot of writing. None of it seems, on reading it, to be satisfactory. And I believe that one day it'll happen. So Julian will get
his
a manuscript
will
one day.
Possibly pay off.
I hope so, yes. I feel I owe it to him.
Okay.
Thank
Roger,
you
thank you much for coming in.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Conscious TV, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.